the strangest feeling.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and Friends. Actually, we got a good one tonight. We've actually been off for the last couple of weeks here, last several weeks. Coach Dee and I took a break. And as I was taking a break, I injured myself at the gym. I had a slight injury at the gym that sidelined me. My doctor placed me on injured reserve. So I haven't been into the gym in quite some time. So I should be back this week going to the gym. So good stuff. Glad to see you guys. Appreciate you guys from Instagram to YouTube to Taylor Kennedy TV, all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. But tonight we got a long-awaited topic that Coach Dee and I talked about weeks ago, almost a month now. You know, talking about refrain from defending famous people with toxic behavior. And of course, we're talking about Puffy. And to be frankly and quite honest, that was a bitch move on Puff's part, abusing this woman and whatnot. And I know you all have seen that horrific video on CNN. And I said it, that's a bitch move. You know, little men hit women, little men, boys. That's not a man. That's a weak boy. So let's get Coach Dee in there. I want to get down to the trauma of it all. I sent it out to a couple of people, some of our regulars, but I really wanted to get to the coaching side of this and talk about how this affects these women and why they stay and how to get them past, a turbulent situation. So very important topic tonight. We'll get right into it. Let's get Coach Dee in here. Hey, Coach.
Hey there, how are you?
Better.
That's good. I had some dental surgery, so don't mind the look.
Okay, so we both were on injured reserve for a minute
Yeah,
here.
when I was pregnant with Xavier, I had morning sickness the entire time, so I lost all the calcium. So I had issues with my teeth due to that. So I have a thing in to replace some of the teeth, but it feels really weird and it makes me sound really weird.
You sound the same. You're good. You're definitely good. I had a slight injury over at the gym. Actually, while we were taking our break, it was on hiatus. But kind of during yoga, I kind of moved the wrong way and kind of took my back out of whack. So I've been sitting out for a minute. I just recently started yogaing back at the house. I haven't got to the gym yet again, but I'll be back to the gym this week coming in. So, but all is well. I feel much better.
Well, that's good to hear.
Oh yeah. It's a process, as you know. So, good stuff, man. So we're talking about refrain from defending famous people with toxic behavior, and of course, we're talking about Puffy Combs. We're talking about all the toxic men who place their hand on these women, and I won't call them men. There's boys, weak little boys, who actually sucker punch these women, or like Puff did, stumping this girl all on the ground while she's down. That was a bitch move. Sorry for the language, but that's what it is. Calling it how I see it. So I don't condone that. I'm totally against that. Completely against that. A woman cannot defend herself against any man. I don't care the size of a woman, the size of the man. A woman can't defend herself. So we'll get down to the trauma of it all. I really want to talk about it and talk about how we walk these women out of turbulent situations. What's your thoughts, Coach D? Let's say hi to the folks real quick.
Look at here. So hey, Brenda. Brenda's in with us already. So good evening to you too.
Hey, Brenda, how you doing? It's Brenda.
Everybody from all over. Are you on IG right now?
Yeah, we're broadcasting over there as well.
Hi, everybody over on Instagram. Yeah. So here's the thing: everybody always focuses on the women, but never anyone focuses on holding the men accountable.
Right.
And like most women know somebody who's either been assaulted or has been hit, but yet no man can tell me of a male that they know that's done it. And like
Right.
statistically, it's impossible. Like if 1 in 3 women are getting assaulted or beat, then y'all should know some men who are doing it,
Somebody should know something.
right? But nobody's holding the men accountable. So what happens is 9 times out of 10 will come from abusive family behavior
Right.
because it's comfortable, it's normal, and then their self esteem is beat down little by little by little by little, or their life is threatened, or their family's lives are threatened, right? And
Right.
eventually, it takes multiple times for them to get out. So we never want to victim blame and say, "Why didn't you get out earlier?" Because if they go to
Exactly.
the police are not going to help them. There's
And they
very
can
little,
help you.
there's very little help the police offer, and
Right.
a restraining order never works. Right? It's a piece of paper. You can walk through a piece of paper easily. Now, we have
Right.
people get shot in front of the courts here in Maryland all the time on a regular basis from domestic abuse. But
Gotcha.
then we take their guns. Oh my God, no, we can't do that.
Right.
And
Here's
it's
my
just,
problem. I was having a conversation with Slash
hmm,
a couple of weeks ago about this incident with Puff, and I was talking, going back and forth, on the topic. I was like, my problem is with the people who's around them. You know what I'm
right?
saying? Like, is there not a man around to chin check this man, whoever this
Yeah,
man is, Puff or whoever? Is it? I mean, the environment I come from, that won't be tolerated. Not even in this condition, that wouldn't be tolerated. I'm like, where was the people around them to chin check this? I don't
come
care
on.
how much money you have.
Me and you both know the music industry is full of rapists and pedophiles and abusers. And nobody's saying nothing because there's a lot of money involved.
Exactly.
Right? Look at R. Kelly. R. Kelly's in jail and people are still defending the man.
That's true. You're right.
Bill Cosby. The man drugged and raped people, and people are like, oh, he was trying to buy NBC. No, he wasn't.
Right.
Right? There's all these, and people talk about Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman has been talking for decades on stuff that's been happening, and people
Yeah.
are just like, oh, he's just on drugs. No, nobody listen to him. He's crazy. People knew what was going on with Diddy. I remember watching a MTV interview with a couple
Mhm.
of rappers way back in the 90s. And they
Right.
said there's some crazy parties and they leave when the party starts.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
stuff that
yeah.
they seen, they don't want it. I'm like, yo, this is all, it's all, people always known. People have always known. But people will
Exactly.
defend them to be deaf, just like they defend their pedophilic uncle who's sexually abusing women in the family for generations.
But here's my thing, man. As I was, researching this topic and looking at all the different comments on social media sites and whatnot, and people defending this guy even before seeing him put the video out, right?
Right.
So they're talking about, oh, why did she stay? And oh, she's looking for a payday and all this foolishness. But people like that get caught up in the facade of things. That industry is completely a facade,
Yeah.
completely a facade. They get caught up in, oh, he's perfect. No, he's not. No, he's not. Call it how it is, man. Call it how it is. And you cannot judge a person. Well, why did she just come up? Why did she speak up just, all of a sudden? First of all, you gotta be mindful. This girl was 17 when he started actually grooming this woman,
Hmm.
this young girl. She was groomed, but nobody said anything about this.
No.
Nobody said, well, damn, what that 38-year-old man doing with a 17-year-old girl?
Tupac said stuff about it though.
He did.
And I
Look what
think
happened to him.
Tupac got killed because of stuff Tupac knew and was going to talk about. To
Exactly.
be honest, and look at
Exactly.
Aaliyah. How old was Aaliyah?
15.
Like, this people like, oh, the girls are fast. No, they're not. They're groomed. If you
Hey,
ever say a girl is fast, you just sexualize a child, and you need to take a hard look in the mirror and think about what you just said.
for the people who don't know what grooming is, educate them real quick. What does grooming look like when an adult man is grooming a young girl.
All right. So some of the things they'll say is, "Oh, you're mature for your age. I love you like nobody else will. Your family doesn't understand you. I understand you." All these things that will prop up her self-esteem, where he's the only one who can assist her to get where she needs to be.
Right.
Right? It's all about what he says, and he will and slowly annihilate her from her family so that he is the only support system.
Exactly.
Which is
That's
why
I
it
just
makes it
want
hard to
people to
leave.
know. I want folks that is not normal behavior. If a grown man, is grooming a young girl, that's not normal behavior.
Yeah.
That's not cute.
Oh yeah.
That is
But
not cute.
if you look on any social media, you'll see guys talking about, oh, but they're young and they're teachable. Teachable equals grooming.
Exactly.
That's what it
Exactly.
is. No, there's no reason. There's nothing that a 16-year-old and a 4-year-old have in common,
At all.
right?
At all. At all. Absolutely.
And that
So let's talk.
video, like
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
people held the football player. What was the guy with the dogs?
You talking about Michael Vick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people castigated him over dogs, but will turn their blind eye to like Chris Brown, who beat the living craylights out of Rihanna. Like
Exactly.
it's ridiculous.
Why
And
do you think that? Why do you think that's so though?
there's a couple of things. One, it depends on how they're raised. So if you're
Hmm.
raised in survival versus love, that may be what you know. And so
Exactly.
you come back with the, oh, what did she do to instigate it? Which is pure BS. Or
Exactly.
there something must have happened. Forgetting
Right.
the whole time that a grown adult does not act like that. You're able to regulate your emotions and your anger.
Absolutely.
And so then there's people who have trauma bonds, who that is the relationship they see as normal, right? So if you don't have that, you see that relationship like, whoa, what the heck? Why didn't
Exactly.
you walk away? But then you forget about all the stuff that went in the background with the grooming and the trauma buying and the annihilation. So that there's nowhere for her to go.
For the folks that don't know what trauma bonding is, explain that.
Right? So trauma bond is a cycle. Like you'll have somebody, for instance, I'll post on the page like a diagram. So you'll
Right.
have somebody meet somebody. They have may not have a lot in common, but that person who creates the trauma bond is usually there's something abusive about them, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, financial, sexual, and
Right.
they will attach themselves to this person. The other person usually has a very codependent relationship attachment, so
Hmm.
this will create a trauma bond, and they'll be like it's very chaotic. So
Right.
there's love bombing, and then there's detachment, love bombing, detachment. So you're always kept on edge.
Exactly.
So you're always walking on
You know
eggshells.
what's so funny? And if these guys go back and look at all these interviews with this scumbag,
Hmm.
when he talked in these interviews, he told you exactly who he was. I'm
Oh yeah,
speaking of Puff. He
yeah,
told you exactly who he was. Straight
yeah,
scumbag.
yeah. Just a lot of people have pulled up old interviews. When I say pull up old interviews, watch the ones where she's talking and how he looks at her when she's talking.
He's staring like a death stare. Like, I
Mhm.
hope she don't say that she's not supposed to say.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's very threatening. But it's more than just him. There is a ton of people who are because they're famous, they get a pass. Look at Roman
exactly.
Polanski. He's in exile for rape, and people are still giving him awards and doing movies with him.
Exactly.
Right?
Same as Russell Simmons.
Yeah, well, listen, all these guys with these young wives. Who's the new one? Oh, there's a pastor that just came out with an 18-year-old
Oh,
wife. He
wait.
waited 4 years. He said. I was like, and I was talking to some church friends. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. And they're like, oh, God sent her. I'm like, no, God does not send you children.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way. And I'm
Did you
like,
see that on TikTok somewhere? Because I think I saw that somewhere.
I saw the news.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the news stations. I haven't looked at TikTok. My head was
That's
hurting. Yeah,
that's
so
just not normal,
there's
man.
so
That's just
much,
not normal.
man.
It's not
It's
normal.
no, it's crazy. And here's the thing: how it happens is how it begins is people sexualize children. Right? You'll see the cute little onesies. Oh, I'm a heartbreaker. Lock up
Right.
your daughters, uh,
Right.
and stuff like that, right? And then you'll start. Oh, well, that outfit's too fast for her. She looks old. I'm like, there's no such thing as an outfit that's too fast for a little girl. They're little
Exactly.
girls. Stop looking at them at any other way, right?
Right.
And then you have people who will have. They'll say, "Oh, so and so is coming over. You need to go change." If
Right.
your child needs to go change because somebody's coming over to your house, that person probably shouldn't be at your house.
I witnessed a lot of older guys when I was in the music industry over in New York. We used to go to New York a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I witnessed a lot of older guys dealing with these young Hispanic girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even back then, I was like, "Man, this is weird.
Yeah,
This is very weird." But
it is.
it's heavy in New York. I witnessed that myself personally.
Yeah,
Very heavy. I'm talking about older men, way older men dealing with young girls, 14, 15 years old.
it's like that all over the place. There was where was it? They were trying to make child brides legal. I can't remember what state it was. I want to say Oklahoma. I'll do a quick Google search. But yeah, they people use religion to make it okay,
Right.
but it's not. It's like, let me pull it up. Child, because some of the things that are happening in this country right now is absolutely ridiculous.
That's a little different. Definitely a little different.
Yeah.
That's a lot that they're trying to pass. Is it going through
Well, child marriage is legal in 38 states in the United States. You just need permission from their parents and some nonsense.
right.
Um, I'm trying. I'll find it eventually. But yeah, there is so much nonsense going on um, currently. Like one person wants to make abortion drugs a controlled substance. I'm like, and they have a group that is a maternal group or something. It's a bunch of men who decide what women can do with their uteruses.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, let's talk about a little bit about these people who defend these famous people with toxic behavior.
Mm.
Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they give them the benefit of the doubt, even when the proof is right in their eyes, right in their faces?
Denial. Because if they have to admit that those people are doing something, there's probably other people in their lives who are doing the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
Because
yeah.
if you're a conscious adult who protects children, you're not going to see anything different, anything good with a man marrying a 15-year-old,
Oh, at all.
right? That's like that poor little 10-year-old that was raped and they forced her to have the child at 10.
Yeah,
10. I've never wanted to kill anybody more in my life,
exactly. But
right?
honestly, when Puff got with this young girl,
Mhm.
the girl looked like she was no more than 15, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
I
like,
don't know
oh, he
how
got a
old.
new artist. When he
Yeah,
signed her, it's like, oh, he got a new artist. Then, maybe a year or so later, he's dating her. I started giving him the side eye. I'm like, that shit ain't normal.
no.
That is not normal.
Well, how old was Kim Porter?
They were around the same age.
Yeah,
They were around the same age.
yeah. And all the stuff coming out now about Clive Davis and Puffy, and there's all kinds of nonsense coming out.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah, that situation that's a little weird. But
mm,
everybody in the industry knew that. Everybody knew that already. And here's
mm,
the thing, this is what the problem is, right? Me personally, I truly believe that there should be a law in place. If you witness this and you see it and you don't say anything, you should get the
yeah.
same charge.
Oh yeah.
You should get the
And that's
same charge.
but here's the thing: the people that witnesses got money too.
But here's the thing,
Money,
and
money keeps you safe. He paid 50,000 for that hotel tape.
yeah, yeah,
So and it wasn't Cassie that released it; it was the feds.
Exactly. Because
right?
they
Because
build a case on it.
there's no statute of limitation, so that can be public, so that people can see exactly who he is. Can
Absolutely.
you imagine kicking
I find
somebody
it
while they're
weird.
down?
I find it weird with these laws, right?
Mm,
Give an example, right? I give you both examples. If I'm in a car with you
mm,
and I got a pound of marijuana and I don't say anything,
I got a pound of marijuana.
you got a pound of marijuana as well.
Hmm. Yep.
This is the same thing should take place with these type of scumbags.
Yeah. If you're in a car with somebody who does a drive-by shooting, well, you all got a drive-by
You
shooting
gonna
on
get
your
this
card.
charge. Y'all all get
Yeah.
that charge.
Yeah.
Y'all all should get that same charge.
But here's the thing: we have a two-tier justice system. We always have. Anybody looking
Exactly.
at Trump's trial knows that, right?
Exactly.
If you or I did fraudulent business, I would be in jail already.
Locked up.
Locked up, no questions asked.
Locked up.
But that's the way the system works here. If you got money, you can avoid it.
Exactly. We got a comment here from Brenda Davis out of Memphis.
I think Kim was a little older than Cash. She was always a young mother with her, and Puppy started dating, but they're saying she was abused as well. Oh, yeah. I don't doubt
Absolutely.
it. Abusers don't just abuse one person,
Absolutely.
right? It's not or alleged abusers, so the lawyers don't come for us. But here's the thing: people know. There's always somebody to know. There's makeup artists who had to hide bruises because when you get dressed for a size for an event, you're in your brown panties and they're dressing you and doing your hair and makeup. People
In a
saw
room
that.
full of people. There's a room full of people. A room full
People,
of people.
yeah. So they wait now until the poor woman's dead. Like, we need to protect people when they're alive. We
Exactly.
need to believe people. This is why women don't go forward with rape allegations, because they're never believed. Right? Nobody helps them. The police won't do anything. Right?
Exactly. But what's troubling to me, as I was actually, like I said earlier, going over this stuff and reading these comments on all these sites, and everybody has an opinion on the victim.
Oh
That's
yeah,
crazy to me.
yeah.
That's insane to me.
People love to blame the victim. Love to blame it. it it's that's why, like, if something happened, people won't stop and help you.
Right.
Right? That's ever seen the show What Would You Do?
Yeah, I saw that.
Young. Have you noticed how many people will not do anything?
Exactly.
And there's only like a couple people, and I'm like, and I watch it, I get riled up every time. I'm like, why the heck isn't anybody doing anything? This is horrible. Why do you let people get treated like this? Right? And then
Exactly.
we talk to people, and it's like people don't want to get involved because it's not their business. I'm like, you know what? If people got more involved and our community stepped up, the people and held
But
people
you get all
accountable,
that abuse, man.
yeah,
A lot of that stuff wouldn't be taking place at all.
no, right? Instead of men saying, "Oh, why did Cassie not leave?" It was like, "Why didn't nobody kick Puppy's ass?"
Exactly.
You know, there was men that saw that. What were they doing,
Exactly.
right?
Here's
And
the
they're
thing here's the thing, like people like Puff, right? He's a coward, first of all. And I'll say it again. I'll continue to say it. He's a bitch ass nigga for that.
mm,
And he'll pick people around him that he know he can control with his dollar.
yeah,
People do that. I've seen that done.
yeah.
There are people around them who they can control with the dollar. They won't say anything and see this girl get dragged across the floor because of a paycheck.
Oh yeah. I remember I dated a basketball player when I was in Toronto, and
Mhm.
awesome guy. Won't say his name because he's married now. Super sweetheart. And we were out, and there was a discussion about public events, just current events. And you know me, I'm very up on current events. And this
Right.
one guy looks at me, goes, "You should shut her up. Women are supposed to be seen and not heard." And the
Wow.
entire room went quiet. I said, "I don't know who you think you are, but you will not talk to me like that." And he
Exactly.
was like, "I'll talk to you any way I want, bitch." And then everybody's like, and about five of the guys, there was like 12 at the table, five of them said, "Whoa, this is not what we do here." And they
Exactly.
put him in line, right? But at some point, nobody's ever put him in line because he felt comfortable enough to say that in front of other men,
Exactly.
right? And there's tons of men out there that do that. You talk to women, you would be shocked at what men And this is why when the question came up, the man or the bear, women chose the bear
Right.
because we know one, the bear could either run away or eat us. That's the two options we have. With
Right.
men, there's a plethora of options that could happen, and people
Which
were
is
like
sad.
still ignoring what women were saying.
Again, you're just as guilty if you see and witness a woman getting beat. You're just as guilty if
Yeah,
you're not saying anything. Oh, that's my friend. Well, if
yeah.
that's your friend, you should be able to check him.
If that's your friend, you
Give him
should not
his
allow that
place.
because, yeah, right? Because that's somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's
Exactly.
mother. And
Exactly.
I talk to people and they're like, "Well, snitches get stitches." I'm like, "You're not a snitch if you're not involved in the crime.
Protecting
You're a
someone.
witness. There's a difference. A snitch is somebody who's involved in the crime. Otherwise,
Exactly.
you're just a good citizen taking care of criminals."
And honestly, when I saw that video on CNN with him dragging this girl on the floor and stumping her when
Mhm.
she's down, I thought about my daughters. I have daughters.
Yeah.
I have daughters. And this idiot has 3 daughters.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, now 4 with your little young baby. But I was in disbelief. I was like, I can't believe this dude doing this.
Listen, it makes you question how they were treated.
Exactly.
To be honest, like what he said to them,
Exactly.
and that's like, who's the one that has the young daughter that's dating the old man now? Is that Russell Simmons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but Russell called Kimura when she was 17.
Mhm. And people are like, "Well,
Same
it's
thing.
boys." I'm like, "Sir, that's exactly how her father teaches, right? That's how she
Exactly.
was raised. She was groomed,
Straight grooming.
right?"
Straight
So
grooming.
yeah, people don't understand how prevalent it is.
Right.
And then when you start looking around, like if you see, if you're a girl in high school and there's an older man picking you up, telling you you're more mature than the women his age, he's lying to you. He's grooming you.
Exactly.
At no point in
It was
history has
funny.
a 16-year-old been more mature than a 30-year-old.
Right. Make it a little light real quick.
Mm.
Be having conversation with my daughters, right?
Yeah.
Talking about they met someone and whatnot. First thing I do is like, hey, how old is he? Let me meet him. FaceTime. I want to see him. FaceTime. Let me see him. Let me see him. And my daughter is actually, she'll turn 30 June 2nd. I still ask her questions.
Right.
I still ask Taylor questions. Like, hey, let me see him. I do it on purpose. Let me see him. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see who he is.
Yeah.
And she's turning 30.
Yeah. And here's the thing that pees me off. You see all these prom pictures, and dads have guns to these boys. And I'm like, I dare a mother trucker to take a picture with a gun to Xavier because I
Right, right,
will
right.
kick some ass. Oh lordy, I saw that one of my friend's kids. She called me up.
Right.
She's, did you see the picture he posted? I'm like, when are we rolling out, ma'am?
There it is.
That ain't right.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments. I see you, Al Sal. I see you,
Oh,
Kathy, out of North Carolina. Nice to see you, beautiful.
Alvin said, if I saw it, I will be all in his Kool-Aid. Yes, I know you would, Al. You're a good guy. Kathy
Exactly.
says, good evening, everyone. Great conversation. Listen, any man who feels the need to strike a woman, in my opinion, is a coward. And if he does, then I wonder how he treats the woman in his life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about the mother wound and the father wound? There's some
Yeah.
issues going on there as to why there's anger, right? So they have to figure out what the anger is, why you're not able to regulate your own emotions. Because
Right.
as a grown up, you should be able to do that,
Right.
right? I had a guy once raise his fist to me, so I broke his hand. Remember, I was in the army, so we're taught hand
I
to hand
remember
combat.
that story. I remember that story.
Yeah.
Tell folks. Tell 'em.
So he raised his hand to me to go to hit me, so I hit him back, and I broke his arm, and he called the cops on me. And the cops showed up, and they're like, "What happened?" He's like, "She hit me." I said, "He hit me first, and I defended myself." They're like,
Right.
"Sounds good to me. You want to press charges,
Fair
man?"
game, baby. Fair
I'm like, "Yes,
game.
I
Fair
do."
game. Exactly. Fair
I
game.
used
Fair game.
I used to spar with my uncles. I have a mean right hook, right?
Right. Right.
But there's so much nonsense that um, people will say or try that you're just like, you know what? This is ridiculous. absolutely ridiculous, and nobody's holding them accountable.
Right.
Which is what the problem is that um, our laws need to change.
It
We,
does. It really
yeah,
does.
we need to change the laws. We need to take away guns from domestic abusers because they've already proven to be violent.
Right.
Right? You hear in the news on a regular basis women getting shot by their ex-husband or ex-boyfriend
Right.
because if I can't have her, nobody can. Like, grow the heck up! It's not a truck; it's a person. And you know
Exactly.
what? And I blame uh, when mental health institutions were closed back
Hmm.
when Reagan was president. Right? People need help. People need therapy. They need to sort stuff out.
Yeah,
Kathy,
I agree with
you're
that, but
right hook too.
was that's Kathy
Yeah,
agreeing with you,
yeah,
Christian?
yeah.
Yeah, but even like with Puff, right?
Mm.
Yeah, he needs help, but he also needs an ass whooping real quick. He needs that ass whooping before he get the help. He really needs to get that ass whipped before he get the help.
Remember,
Before he gets counseling.
the black woman's the most unprotected woman in America.
Yeah,
There ain't no better example right there. Because
right.
he surrounds himself with black men, and you
But
tell me not one of them saw what was going on.
for my men who actually sees this podcast or whenever it's streaming or whatever, if you're in a situation where your friend is abusing his girlfriend or any other woman for that matter, you're an accomplice. If you're not saying anything, if you're not chin checking him, you're an accomplice. You should be charged right along with your friend, and
Yeah,
you're a buster as well. That just irks me, man, because not only do I have daughters, my brothers they had girls. I have all nieces.
yeah,
There's no boys here. All nieces and daughters. I took that personal, man. I'm like, I can't believe this dude is stumping on this girl, man.
yeah.
It takes a special kind of scumbag to do something like that.
It does. And here's the thing: we need to raise our sons better. I was on
Absolutely.
uh, I was on Facebook the other day, and this lady posts, "Oh, it's easy to raise sons because society teaches them they have everything." I'm like, no, it's really hard to raise good men because you have to go against everything that society teaches them. Like, it's not easy at all. It's easy to raise your son. You're not doing it right
Absolutely.
because you want to raise him to be somebody who's not a misogynist, who's not
Somebody,
sexist.
I don't know if his parents had compassion, what they was teaching this boy, because that dude's a lunatic.
They were teaching him that men don't talk about their emotions, and that men allow two emotions: anger and happiness, and that's it.
Right.
Right?
Which
You
is
see that
weird.
everywhere.
Which is weird.
It is weird, but we see it all over. How many times you've seen people tell boys to suck it up,
That's
take it
true.
like a man?
Right. And
But you know what
the podcast we did when we're talking about the fine line to parenting.
happened?
There's a very fine line to where we as parents have to walk with these
Mm-hmm.
boys, especially.
Yeah,
You got to walk that fine line, man. Well, you're nurturing them, you're showing them compassion, you get them tough love at the same time. There's a fine line that a man should walk with his son, or to end up like a puff.
I don't think it's really a fine line. I think it's empathy, compassion, support, and you don't get puppies. When you
I
give
think
children a voice and allow them to express their emotions, you
right,
have you have healthy people who are able to regulate their emotions. You don't get grown men who hold it all in.
exactly,
You're never going to see Xavier hit anybody because he can communicate effectively, too
exactly.
effectively sometimes.
And me personally, I think Puff's struggling with a whole bunch of different things that
Mm.
he don't want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
It's my personal
Uh,
opinion.
Given all the stuff that's come out, there's probably a whole lot of stuff he doesn't want to talk about
Exactly.
because in our community, that stuff is looked down upon.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
So
And
here's
that's still no excuse to put his hands on a woman, though.
no, there's never an excuse to put your hands on anybody,
Right.
man, woman, child, no excuse, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you're defending yourself, then
Absolutely.
go for it. But here's the thing: uh, within our community, we're very harmful at times because we're not very open-minded towards other lifestyles or other
True.
anything that's not heteronormative. Right? The LGBT community amongst the Black community has huge suicide rates
Exactly. Hey, let me
because
say hi to Michelle. Michelle K out of Chicago. Hey, Michelle.
hey Michelle, welcome
Okay, that's
in.
okay. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Oh, Kathy has a
Okay.
says, I don't think his apology was genuine. His darkness and sinister life were coming to light. I question him
Bingo.
on his secrets. Was it money he gave, cars and trips? He needs jail time. Listen, that apology was the most unapologetic apology ever. Right?
Yeah,
That was a I got caught, and
exactly.
the
That
video
is
was it.
that whole video was the definition of a narcissist. It really
Like,
was. It really was. That wasn't a positive because he made it all about himself.
mm-hmm.
He made it about himself.
Oh yeah.
He never even called the girl name. He couldn't look into the camera. Couldn't do any of that. He kept looking away.
Listen, that's why when you look at family annihilators, they always look at their behavior. Right?
Right.
Your behavior always gives you away. Your nonverbal
Mhm.
communication, what you're saying, how you're saying it, whether you use present tense or past tense.
Right.
There's so many tells in your conversation that people will pick it up. And
Exactly.
abusers think they're smarter than everybody else because they get
Exactly.
away for it for a long time. But the veneer gets cracked very easily. And then once
But
it's cracked, it's so.
if you guys actually studied that video that he did that he put out there, right? Coach D and I know that this guy was coached.
Oh
He
yeah,
was coached. He was coached.
absolutely.
Every single word he kept saying in that video.
Yeah.
Legal terms in that video. Just in case they got other videos out there, in that video,
You
I
know there's
was
other
wrong.
videos out there.
In
You
that
know
video,
damn well.
the guy was coached, man. He was
Yeah.
coached.
You anybody worth anything would immediately find a PR rep to
Exactly.
talk to and lawyers
Well,
to talk to get that
that was the
apology.
wrong PR firm to hire. He hired for that because that was some bullshit.
You know,
They ate him alive, and they still eat him alive online, which is good for him.
but here's the thing: how much leeway did they give him if he's used to being in control,
Yeah, good
right?
point. Yeah,
Because people who live in their ego um, surround themselves by yes man,
there you go.
right?
Absolutely.
Because a no person like a yes man would never hire me for a job because I'm going to call it like I see it,
Exactly.
whether that is
You definitely won't be getting hired.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
met the
definitely
man.
won't be.
I met the man once at a Toronto Film Festival event, and it's
Right,
like you know how people and you can tell somebody's energy.
right,
Right? And it was just like, hey, this is P Diddy. I'm like, nice to meet you, and move on. But he's like, that
right.
gives a creepy vibe. But you
And
know,
for the
it's
ladies here, and for the ladies, I really want you guys to understand this, right? If your guy of interest or whoever this guy is, if he don't like you having your own mind, move away from him quick. Again, if he don't like you having your own mind, your own opinion, move away from him quick. It's toxic.
that's why I
And
get
he's weak.
yeah. That's why I get so curious when people say they want a submissive woman. I'm like, why?
Exactly.
What does submissive mean to you? And they're like, what do you mean what submissive? I'm like, what does submissive mean to you? I'm like, oh,
Anytime I see a guy talking about submissiveness, I'm always thinking like, okay, so why you gotta feel better about yourself because she's submitting to you? Does that make you feel better about yourself?
mm, oh yeah, it's a control.
You know?
And they're like, oh, they must submit. But if you read the Bible, they're like, oh, the Bible says you must submit. I'm like, oh, if you read the Bible, they say both people are supposed to be submitted. But how do
Right,
you must have missed that second part.
right.
But
When you
it's
catch ladies, when you catch a guy talking about submit
mhm.
and he's the head and whatnot, there's something behind that.
Oh yeah,
You need to know this. There is something behind that.
yeah.
There's
Who-
insecurity. There's
yeah.
a small man, very small man. There's something behind that.
And how are you the head if we're 50-50? What are you
Exactly.
the head of? You're 50.
Exactly.
I would talking to someone the other day, and she said this guy kept telling her to bring peace, and she's like, "Oh, he kept telling her he wants a woman who brings peace." And she asked him, he goes, "How can she bring peace if you're only bringing chaos?
Right.
You got 4 baby mamas. You don't pay any child support. You're always in and out of trouble because of it. What peace
Yeah.
is there for her?"
That's very manipulative, man. That's very manipulative.
Mm.
Very.
Yeah,
You
because
know what
if
I'm
they
saying?
already
That's
have
just
peace, they don't have. They already know.
exactly. That's somebody saying like, "Hey, look over here because you don't see that fist over there.
Yeah,
You don't see the insults on that side. Look over here. That's a distraction. That's all it is."
yeah, it's crazy. But listen, the real thing though, if you know somebody who needs help, offer them help. Like
Absolutely.
find some phone numbers for them. If you have to, slip them a phone number when somebody's not looking, um, and help them. But remember, it can be very dangerous for them to leave.
Exactly. And for
So,
my men, what Coach D say, yeah, cool. But if you're in that situation, you see that happening, put your foot in his ass.
mm, that can be
Simple.
dangerous for her though. So be careful.
It
Right?
could, but
Make sure you get her to safety first, and kick his ass. Get her safe
exactly.
first, or him, because there are men who get beaten too.
Yeah.
That does occur. So we want to make sure that we're not generalizing it just to women. There are men, and they get even less help than women do because people don't believe it.
Right, right, right.
Right? I can, and people are like, "Oh, she got beat up for a woman." I'm like, listen, I could easily. I have taken men out when I was in the army, so I know I could kick them butt. So there are men. Not
Woman,
all men are strong.
she's
Not all
telling
men
you
take a
nothing.
punch.
She's a fighter. She's a fighter.
Oh
I've been
yeah,
knowing her for over 20 some odd years. She's a fighter.
yeah. And here's the thing, and people don't realize that um, when somebody finally wants to leave and they don't turn back, that's going to be very hard for them, but they can get through it.
Right.
It will be tough. I'm not going to lie. And you have to go to therapy, and you have to get therapy because you have to heal from that before you can start another relationship.
Exactly. And folks need to understand, man, women, in particular, that's what we were talking about, as far as that. But you have to look at the situation just like you approach the 5 steps of grief and loss. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna lose that person. You're gonna go through those different phases. 5 steps of grief and loss is the same thing as leaving a toxic behavior type person, a toxic, turbulent person. So you're gonna go through those steps. But make sure that when you get through those steps, don't repeat them. It's
That's
going to,
right.
nobody's perfect. You're gonna go through those steps. But once you're on the other side of that, stay out of that.
Mhm.
Because if they're turbulent, they're gonna continue to be turbulent.
Yeah.
Every time you go back, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Which
Chaos is never good for anybody.
at all,
No.
at all, at all.
And there's way too many chaotic people out there who think therapy is a 4 letter word, that they don't need help. I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, you don't need help. I can think of about 10 different things that you do on a regular basis that obviously shows that you need help. Like, please. None of us are perfect. We all got baggage.
All of
Every
us.
one of us. And somebody says they don't have baggage, they got the more baggage than anybody else because they're in
Exactly.
denial about their baggage.
If they're denying that, they're delusional. Move
Yeah.
away from it quick.
Oh, yeah. I've had people, oh, I found Jesus. I'm good. I'm like, ma'am, you have not done any therapy for anything. Jesus is good, but even he ain't that good. That
Right.
you got work that you need to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Internal work.
Mm-hmm.
Internal work. So yeah.
Yeah. And for anybody who's out there who's in a situation now and doesn't know where to look, email me and tell me. You don't have to tell me. Email me, make up an anonymous email. You don't have to tell me where your name is or anything. Tell me your location. I'll find the resources for you in that local area and send it back to you. Right?
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I want to tell the viewers again. We're gonna do a 2-type talking situation with the gumbo talk this week. But after speaking with Coach D and I, we spoke on this topic tonight, and we thought it would be very important to give it an hour because it deserves an hour. We're talking about abuse and abusive women and abusers. It needed an hour. We had to dedicate an hour to that, not split it with the topics that we'll be adding every other week to the conversation.
Mhm.
So it definitely needed attention.
Yeah, because you know what, there are a lot of people out there who are scared and in pain and need
Absolutely,
help,
absolutely, absolutely.
and society blames the victim instead of the abuser, which is backwards, and it's
Exactly.
horrible. So I don't. And that's the thing when you have um, a society that's built on basically genocide, because that's how America was built. Uh, that there's no accountability for the people that cause the most harm.
Exactly. And as you guys know, an abuser like Puff is going to lie and deny it until the tape surface.
Hmm.
Again, he'll deny it. He'll deny it. The abuser will deny it until the tape surfaces.
Yeah. And
This guy
we
lied
all
his
saw the tape.
ass off. He lied his ass off. Oh, they looking for paydays. Uh, lied his ass off, and you guys believed him.
Yeah.
You guys believed him.
Even now, people are like, "Well, what did she do to make him mad?" She was on the ground in the fetal
Exactly.
position, getting kicked. Nobody does any like.
I mean, this guy was throwing like I think it was a vase he threw at her. That
Yeah,
was crazy.
yeah.
You see the size of that vase that he threw at her?
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, man.
Right?
Crazy.
So if he bought one, here's the thing: if he allegedly paid 50 grand for one video, then there's other videos out there, because if you
Exactly.
could buy them,
Exactly. But here's the
money's
thing:
not
what he
going.
didn't expect, right? When he actually got the video from the hotel also gave Cassie a copy of that video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how the feds got it.
Makes sense.
That's how the
Yeah.
feds got it. He didn't know. He didn't know. So when the hotel was giving him that copy, he got played. The hotel played him. Let me get that 50. But let me get this girl this tape as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You know, there's there's always what's done in the dark always comes to light,
always.
no matter what you're doing, right? So I always tell people, like, live your authentic selves. Um, there are some things that society, unfortunately, um, are very vocal about how unaccepting they are about it. The more
Right.
Christian you are, the more unaccepting they are for some strange reason, because they never read Matthew. Um, and just try to be yourself. And if you see things that are not right, then help people.
Say something. Exactly. Just say something,
Right?
man. Say
And
something.
if you're in a church where the pastor's married an 18-year-old, walk away, because God
Exactly.
did not send that child to him. Waited 4 years. Come, oh my.
And and also I want to bring this up as well. As I was doing this research on this topic with this dude, people are talking about, well, for 30 million, I'd take that beating. That's not funny. That's not funny, and I don't think nobody want to be treated that way for no dollar amount.
Yeah,
I can only imagine what this woman went through over the years, that 10-year relationship.
yeah. There's a lot more to it than just that beating. Like, her
Yeah,
self-esteem was
absolutely,
beaten down. Her
absolutely,
support system was taken away. There's so
absolutely,
much more to it. And it takes years of therapy, and she
absolutely,
may never recover fully from it.
absolutely, absolutely. So my heart goes out to her, man, because I have daughters, I have nieces. My
Mm-hmm.
heart goes out to any woman that's abused. That's
Yeah,
a topic that I'll always put on the forefront of the conversation. These men abusing these women, I'm totally against that.
yeah,
Totally against that.
yeah. We
And
need to.
I don't care. I don't care if it's my brothers. I don't care if it's a cousin or whoever it is. If they're in the wrong, I'm gonna check it right away. Like, no, we're not doing it over here.
Yeah.
That's just not right, man. It's
Um,
just not right.
sorry, I just know if my camera's all fucked up. Uh,
Wait, what you say?
that my camera's all messed up. It's not even focused. I don't know what's going on with it. So yeah, here, and we need to keep people accountable.
Right, 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 right,
People, that means holding your family members accountable. You know,
right, right.
you need to maybe what was the movie? Diagonally Black Woman, where she left Charles in the tub.
Right, right, right.
A whole lot more people should be left in tubs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
because
Absolutely.
you don't treat people like that. You don't treat people you love like that. That's for sure. So
Absolutely.
if you have people that you love, they're being treated like that. Help them. Will it be hard? Yes. Will they say no? Yes.
That's
But you got
right.
to keep there and be there when they're ready to leave.
So we got about 9 minutes. Let's gumbo talk for a quick second. So
Sure.
what's going on with you? What's going on with the shop?
My site is up and running. I got lots of stuff on there. Today I was working on Xavier's site, and that accidentally hit delete and I accidentally hit close instead of delete and lost it all.
Wow.
So tomorrow I'll restart.
Oh,
Hmm.
hold on. Michelle out of Chicago has a question here. Let's see.
What do you think of men who don't sit up to their abusers in a circle? They're chumps. They're
Very,
just as
yeah.
bad as he is.
Again, I think you were late coming in, Michelle, when we were talking about laws, and I gave an example of someone riding in a car with someone with a pound of marijuana. If I don't say anything, you're gonna get that charge. Same thing should apply to an abuser's friend. If he witnessed the abuse and don't say anything, he should get the same charge.
Yeah, they're just as abusive. Because I discussed how 1 in 3 women are either sexually assaulted in lifetime, and every woman knows somebody who's been sexually assaulted, but men don't seem to know anybody who's doing the assaulting.
Exactly.
Like the numbers don't match, people.
At all.
Gentlemen, you need to step up. You want to talk about your protectors and you're the alphas. I don't see a lot of protecting going on because you're protecting women from other men.
It's so funny that you would say that, right? I
Yeah,
have a friend of mine, Paula. She's a professor over she's a professor. Let's just say that, and she's over in Africa for a month.
right.
So she called me today, right? And we're talking and whatnot. She said, Trent, I wish you could have traveled over here. The men adore their women.
Mm-hmm.
African men adore their women. That's all they talk about, how they honor their woman. I'm like, wow. And she was just getting, different experience on that. But what stuck out to her most was how these men adore their women.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to thinking, right?
Yeah,
Got to thinking. And this is for, African Americans here in the States. You guys are actually regurgitating what colonizers do to their women.
sir. Where's Slash at? Where is Slash? Slash would love to hear that.
But honestly, though, think about it, though, right?
Yeah.
Think about that, though.
Well,
I mean,
here's the
they're actually regurgitating exactly what colonizers do to their women
Mhm.
here in the
Yeah,
States.
yeah, and people
I had
forget that we some of the tribes that we come from originally are matrilineal,
Yeah, yeah.
and women were
It's so
hunters,
funny.
and it's very
It's so funny. I was having that conversation with
egalitarian.
Paula. I was having a conversation with Paula this morning while she was in Africa right now,
Mhm.
and I thought about that. I was like, they're actually, mimicking, they're mirroring their abusers.
Yeah, like
They're mirroring their abusers.
listen,
That's just the
colonialism
truth, man.
colonialism was a hell of a drug,
Exactly.
right?
If 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 you guys get offended by that, I'm sorry. Sorry, but it is what it is. When
listen,
you see when I see brothers abusing sisters like that, you're mirroring a colonizer,
yeah,
mirroring an abuser.
yeah,
That you
and
got to
that's
think
like
about that. You
when
brought
people
think about that.
um, listen. I talk to people all the time. And they talk about things that are traditional, things that we used to do in the motherland before we left from different countries and different tribes and all the things that we did that are now satanic because against the Bible. I'm like, yo, we didn't follow the Bible until we were dragged over here in boats and chains.
It's so much, man. It's so much that as a people, we don't know, and it's
Listen,
sad. It saddens me. As I was talking to Paula today,
yeah,
it saddens me that a lot of people are not in tune with their true culture.
yeah,
It really saddens me.
yeah. Listen, years ago, right after college, I had to go to a friend of mine was getting married,
Right.
and her husband was coming over from Nigeria. So it was a traditional Nigerian wedding, and we had these gorgeous blue traditional Nigerian outfits. And
Mhm.
I had to run to the store, and this guy came up to me and he started talking to me in Yoruba. And I don't know, I knew a couple of words, which is why I recognize the language. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to a wedding. I don't, this is, I'm Canadian. I don't usually dress like this.
Right, right.
And he's like, he looks at me and goes, no, you have Nigerian blood. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I left, went, met her grandmother, and her grandmother didn't speak English. And she introduced me, and she looked at me. She's like, oh, one of the lost ones.
Oh
Welcome
wow.
to the family. And I'm like, whoa, that's deep, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then I did my DNA and found I'm like 17% Nigerian. So yeah, whatever. So but
Beauty.
it's interesting that, and I said people recognize their own people, and I was like, it's crazy that the grandmother understood more of uh, my connection, my wanting to be connected to
Exactly.
something than the other ones did because from the stories that are told, right? Because
Exactly.
of the oral histories. And people forget that how we assimilated was for survival,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was all about survival. The
Absolutely.
language, the foods, it was all about survival. And people aren't realizing that if you listen to what's called Ebonics, that's redneck English, because
Stop.
that's
Stop.
who was because that's who was talking to us was the overseers, and they were not of the highest class.
So when I push this one out tonight
Hmm.
or later this week, I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer on.
Well, if you go down to the south and you listen to some of the good old boys,
Stop. Stop.
it is what it is. Because
That's
language is fluid, right? And the
absolutely
when slaves came over, they weren't allowed to speak their language, so they learned the language from the people who were around them, and the people who were around them learned the language from the white people who were around them, who are not of the upper class because they weren't talking to the slaves, right?
absolutely
And
absolutely.
people are like, "Well, Dee, that's not popular." I'm like, "I don't. It may not be popular, but it's true,
It's the truth. It's the truth. And
right?"
this is what you're gonna get on a conversation
Yeah,
consistently and continuously. Nothing but
yeah,
transparency and truth.
yeah. But
You know.
they've moved apart over the years because thanks to segregation and Jim Crow,
Mm.
we've maintained segregated communities. We still do. Was it noon is
Absolutely.
the most segregated hour in the United States because everybody's at church?
Stop. So tell the good folks. So we got 2 minutes. Tell the good folks where they can get some of that good trauma coaching, man.
So you can go to my website, dee.layler.com, or if you want some of the documents, the digital downloads, I have a couple of courses available. I have a shadow journal available. You got to go to Coach D. Layler at myshopify.com. And I'll put the link in on, I think the link's on our Facebook page and one of the
Yeah,
chats. But you know what? People, no matter what, um, when your loved one leaves, make sure you tell them you love them because you never know that may be the last time you see them because the world is a crazy place out there right now.
absolutely, absolutely. And for those who actually looking for the books or anything like that, Mello's complete and it's actually on to press. So you guys can get that in the fall at taylorkennedy.com. Taylorkennedy.com. As you can see the spelling, the publishing company above my head. Taylorkennedy.com. You could also get paraphernalia there, sweatshirts, everything with the different ability, all that good stuff. And we'll be doing the nonprofit, releasing information on the nonprofit real soon. Real soon. We're working on that, getting the board together. And how ironic is that? It's a board full of women on the foundation, on the Some Call Me Trent Foundation for people living with different abilities. It's a
Mm-hmm.
board full of women. So like Coach D and Keen and all these good folks. A whole bunch of people gonna be on this board. Tammy Gator as well out of Memphis. So some great things coming up. Great things coming up in the fall with this different ability and this program that I've created, the Some Call Me Project. And it's for people with different abilities living independent. It's gonna be a great thing.
Yeah, and if you want to have a laugh, you can come watch my TikTok, Coach D Layler, because I'm gonna go live learning how to play the drum, the meditation drum.
Are you serious? When you doing?
I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably do one tomorrow. But it's like a steel tongue drum. It's like a little small 8-inch drum.
Hey, make sure you tag me. I want to see it.
Yeah, sure.
Tag me. I want to see it. So good stuff, man.
Xavier's a musically inclined one, not me, but I got one of my videos taken down for copyright, even though it was my own music. So
yeah,
learn how to do it myself.
There it is. Any closing remarks?
Take care of yourselves. Love yourself. It's Memorial Day weekend. As a soldier, thank all those who have served. Pour out a drink for those we've lost. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week.
Appreciate you guys. We're back to our regularly scheduled program every Sunday. So I'm feeling better. Coach D is better. And we'll be back same time, same station next Sunday with some great topics. So you guys be epic.
Bye.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.